How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Loot Wizard. Today's video we're going to be covering the first endgame build that I've put together for Season 13 and the Lord of Hatred expansion. It is a Dread Claws build that utilizes Shadow form as well as Demon form here to maximize our vulnerable damage, shadow damage, and keeping up stealth, which allows us to have pretty good mobility as well. As always, the full build guide is going to be located in the description of the video, so check that out for all the details and so you can follow along super easily. In this video, I'm just going to cover the basics of how the build works, how it plays, and show you some gameplay. Alright, so let's get right into what this build is all about, how it plays, and how it works. So, our main damage dealer is, of course, Dread Claws. And all of our other skills, and again, we're running all Abyss skills, so everything's synergizing and stacking on top of each other here. We have a fairly simple rotation. The gameplay revolves around pulling all your enemies into the sigil and hitting them with your Profane Sentinel, and then unloading as many Dread Claws as it takes. So the rotation is quite simple. You throw down your Profane Sentinel. This is going to get you your vulnerable, mainly. It also applies Hex, but that's not as important because we're also running the Sigil of Subversion here, which will apply your Hex. So you put your Sentinel down, you put your Sigil down, you pop Demon Form, which is going to grant us Shadow stacks with the upgrade we have on it. Shadow Form stacks, I should say. And at that point, you want to make sure you're moving, and then you apply your Dread Claws for maximum damage, and make sure you're keeping up both the Sigil and the Profane Sentinel. But this is pretty much what it looks like, the gameplay here. I think we just got over 1 billion there. Oh, there's 2 billion. So yeah, pretty good damage. And some things that are really, really interesting about this build are the set pieces that we're running here. So we're running the Shadow of Harash set, and if you take a look at the 2-set bonus here, anytime an enemy touches your Shadow Trail, which are going to be left behind when you have Shadow form and then you're moving around here, see these Shadow Trails, when an enemy steps onto that, they'll be instantly teleported to any active sigil that you have on the battlefield at the moment. So it's got very, very good crowd control. You can sort of pull all the enemies together into this one localized spot, and it also helps to ensure that they're getting hit by the Profane Sentinel there. The Sigil of Subversion itself will also actually send out those Shadow Trails if you kill 8 enemies within the Sigil, and that becomes very easy because, again, all the enemies are really going to be getting pulled into it anyway. So it's super, super satisfying to throw that Sigil into a pack of enemies. They all get pulled in, and then you just unload the Shadow Claws, and then they're done. You move on to the next pack. But that's pretty much how the build works. You just want to stack your Sigils, your Profane Sentinel, make sure you're in Demon form with Shadow stacks. Stay moving, because we're using the, where is it, right here, the aggressive aspect is going to increase our damage up to 60% when you're moving, and hitting close enemies is going to refresh that duration. So you don't constantly need to be moving, but you want to make sure that you're keeping this up right here, as you can see the buff. So keep moving, keep your Profane Sentinel and your Sigil up, and just enjoy the damage. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the gear and the aspects we're running. So, for starters, we're using the unique dagger, the Litany of Sable. It's increasing our Dread Claw damage. And it's also going to fire out the Dread Claws when you're gaining a stack of Shadow form. This isn't super big, the firing out of the Dread Claws. I find it actually pretty annoying because it's going to remove your stealth every time it happens. And sometimes you just want to keep your stealth by moving with Shadow form. But the up to 120 times multiplicative damage on Dread Claws is just too big to not use. For our focus, we're running the Demonic aspect. That's going to increase our damage up to 65%, so long as we just keep spamming Dread Claws on enemies, basically. Then we're running Insidious. That's giving us increase to enemies who have not hit us. We're also running Vanquishers, which is dealing increased damage to incapacitated enemies. We have a few ways of applying incapacitated. I actually did a transfigure with the Kulayan thing on the amulet here, and I got the same aspect that I believe I'm running on the boots here. So I'm going to keep working on the transfiguration of this to try to get something more useful. But we're actually managing to get an incapacitated on a lucky hit here. We have the crippling darkness aspect, which is going to give us a lucky hit to inflict fear and immobilize for 1 second. So when you get that lucky hit, you're going to be getting that increased bonus to Vanquishers right here. Vanquishing Warrior's Ring. Okay. On the amulet itself, we're doing the Peril aspect. it's going to increase the damage when you're applying vulnerable. And again, our Profane Sentinel is applying vulnerable, and it constantly hits. So that's going to be triggering your peril multiplicative damage. For the defensive aspects, we're running with Aphotic on this one. That's going to give us increased lucky hit chance with shadow damage, which is going to help proc our Crippling Darkness, which then is going to proc our Vanquishing. So that's super, super useful. You want to make sure you are definitely running that. We're running Aggressive like we talked about, just increasing damage by moving up to 60%, so that's a nice multiplicative upgrade there. We're running Dominance just to get some increased armor, because this build is not super, super tanky. It relies mostly on the stealth from Shadow Form and Nether Step to just try to stay alive. I do not have the Endurant Faith yet, but the unique charm, the Endurant Faith, that will definitely help you stay alive as well, and without it, it's very, very squishy. And then we're running Bruisers, again, trying to just increase our survivability as much as we can. Let's go through the tempers. So the gear, I've put resistance to all elements, max life, and then this is offensive, so we went with abyss damage, another res to all elements, and then mobility cooldown reduction. On our weapons, we're doing abyss damage, same thing for the focus. The ring, we're going to do abyss damage as well, and then even on the amulet, really trying to stack as much damage with shadow, abyss, vulnerable, and Dread Claws specifically. That pretty much covers all the gear, though. Again, check the full build guide in the description. There's just so much to cover in a build guide, and it's just far easier to follow in the nice little mobalytics guide that I've put together. But yeah, besides that, I'm going to just show you a little bit of a dungeon run or something so you can see how it works. And I hope you enjoy it. This build is super, super fun. I think it's really, really cool and satisfying, especially with the Shadow of Barrage, pulling the enemies into the Sigil. This has been a super fun build to play, so definitely check it out. Let me know what you guys think. And without further ado, let's check out a dungeon run. Alright guys, there you have it, the Dread Claws Endgame Build. There was a full pit run showing you how it looks, how it plays. But again, check the full build guide in the description. I hope you guys enjoy this build. I think it's a lot of fun. And let me know how you've been enjoying the expansion so far. I think it's phenomenal. I enjoyed the campaign. I'm enjoying all the new changes. Really loving it. And stay tuned. I've got a lot more content coming covering things you do not want to miss in this expansion. So go ahead and please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And like the video if you can. But that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more. And again, I'm Jason with the Loot Wizard.